HippieCatholic.
And I'm her sidekick.
Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe to be part of the conversation. This is my best friend Kate, and we are filming a video that I've been wanting to make for a long time. So, Paul and Morgan. On Christian YouTube, you know, there's drama, like, I think everywhere on YouTube. Paul and Morgan are always involved with, like, Christian YouTube drama. I actually got the idea to make this video, when I saw kind of how, like, Morgan was responding to God is Gray when, like, God is Gray would try to debate her about different things.
In Morgan's case, she refuses to even kindly speak to people that she doesn't agree with.
We will probably not ever have a back and forth with Brenda.
Morgan would just get really defensive about her views, and I was like, I'm not about that. At first I was gonna get kind of irritated, but it's like then I kind of watched like Morgan's solo videos, and I came across a video that, to my knowledge, is no longer on YouTube.
It gone.
Either that or I'm just stupid and can't find it, but basically there was a video where Morgan opened up about her mental health, and in the first video she talks about how she had in her mind, even though she still has it, borderline personality disorder.
She had it once, she still has it, because you can't get rid of that.
The thing is, like, I've looked for this video everywhere and I have not been able to find it, but then again, I could just be stupid. So, like, if any of you guys can...
Calm down, lady.
Like, so if any of you guys happen to find the video, like, I guess I'm Boo Boo the Fool. Basically, I watched some of her other mental health videos, and of course they're, like, Christian mental health videos. I don't know, I'm not even gonna get into it. Her other mental health videos don't mention BPD. They only mention depression and how she got rid of depression.
I was on antidepressants for about 6.5 years. I struggled with depression, anxiety, severe panic attacks. Did I say depression? I believed the lie from the enemy that there was no freedom from depression. And yes, I am confidently telling you that if you, for a second, feel like depression, anxiety, panic attacks, all of these mental disorder things are things that you have to bear for the rest of your life, that is a lie. I am very confidently saying mental disorders in general are not something you have to live with for the rest of your life.
Which also, depression is a symptom of borderline. One of the symptoms of borderline is the feeling of emptiness. Anxiety and depression are a symptom of several disorders.
So I wanted to get on here and make this video with Kate because Kate is my best friend, and Kate has BPD.
It has gifts.
It has its struggles and it has its gifts. I think it's important just to be realistic about that. I wanted to make this video too because I saw that Jacklyn Glenn commented, and I just kind of wanted to like give like Kate a platform to talk about BPD and to kind of give advice to Morgan. If Morgan finds this video, it's like a small channel, but like it's nice to hear it from somebody who
also thinks like that.
I have been an FP to 2 borderlines, so I kind of come from that perspective too. Even though I don't have borderline, I'm familiar with things about borderlines.
Which, if you don't know what an FP is, I would be more than happy to explain it to you. FP is a borderline term. It stands for favorite person. And I know with a lot of borderlines it's different, but I'm going to explain to you what an FP means for me. I have a lot of trust issues.
Really?
So I don't really trust people. I can be rather reclusive. It takes a lot for me to trust somebody, so it's like rare for me to find somebody that I trust. And it takes a while too. Like, it takes a while for me to trust somebody. Basically, an FP for me is somebody that I put like all that trust in. That's the person that I look to for support. It's almost like an attachment, and it can be somebody you're in a relationship with, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be somebody that you like hardly know. A lot of borderlines will latch on to somebody that they hardly know. I haven't been able to do that. It's very black and white. Borderlines either trust way too easily and will overshare things with like anybody and everybody. See, I'm quiet borderline, which basically means I internalize everything. Just I don't trust. So, but basically, it's somebody who you idealize.
Yeah.
You idealize them. A lot of the times it comes with devaluation too. I'd like to say that there are 3 types of FPs that you can have. There's the one where you literally, you put them on a pedestal. No matter what, they can do no wrong. So they're up here. Everybody else is like here, and they're like here. And you like practically worship the ground they walk on. Then the second type is where you do that, but then also you switch and they're just like, they're scum of the earth. That's the most common form of it.
It's the best of the best, or it's the worst of the worst.
It's the best of the best or the worst of the worst. They're just like, they're either the most important thing that's ever happened to you, or like, they're just like, But then the third one, which is the least common, but I've heard of it, and I'm just like, how does this work? People have had FPs that they can't stand, and they don't want to be, they're always devaluing them, but at the same time, they're just like,
really attached to them.
I'm attached to the fact that I don't know how that works. Typically, I'm the first one.
I would just say that, like, all FP dynamics, they don't necessarily mean that that person is, like, better than other people,
No.
or actually means more to the borderline than anybody else.
It just means that that's the one person that we confide in the most. It's not that we love them more than anyone else in our lives. It's just that, like, it's some psychological shit. I don't even fully know how it works, okay?
It's not like it's like a conscious decision of like, oh, this person is my favorite person.
Just saying, it's not conscious. You cannot control
who your FP is going to be. Like, oftentimes FPs are spouses, children, friends, you know, but
the milkman.
It
could be Bill walking down the street.
But I think that the thing is, it's like, it's very common for significant others to be FPs.
That's the most common.
It's the most common, and I think that we can kind of see that dynamic with Paul and Morgan.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not just making up that Morgan has BPD. Here's a receipt. She did an interview with, I think, a Christian organization, and she talked about how she has borderline and how she's not on medication anymore.
Because it's gone.
You don't have to live with depression for the rest of your life. You don't have to cope with it. You can be completely set free of it.
As blissful as it would be for me to not have this anymore. That's not how it works. I am in talk therapy and I'm on medication. It doesn't just go away. I would love to live in this fantasy world that she lives in, where it's just gone. She's probably in turmoil right now.
If she sees this video, Morgan, like, we love you, and it's not just in, like, a performative, oh, we love you, we feel sorry for you. Wait, no, it's not
And
that.
I understand you.
There's a lot of stigma around BPD, and it really sucks.
Everyone thinks I'm a dirty scum.
There's always, like, that one commenter who's like, my wife had BPD, and she left me, and she's a bad woman. I'm probably gonna get one, too.
Well,
There's
like,
always one.
People with borderline can be toxic, but so can anybody else.
The thing to realize about personalities in general, like personality disorders too, is that like whatever your personality is, it's going to affect how you're going to be toxic. People's toxicity looks different depending on what that person's temperament and like their personality is. So people with borderline, when they're toxic, there'll be patterns. With my personality, there's toxic things I do that if you look at somebody with like a similar personality type that I have, they probably do similar toxic things. That's just the way personalities kind of work.
So it's like borderlines can be toxic, but that doesn't mean that every borderline is toxic.
Exactly.
See, I'm not a toxic person. I've done toxic things. I'm not gonna lie, especially in the past, because I'm getting a lot of help, and obviously I'm on medication, so it's like I've been doing well. It doesn't mean my brain isn't trying to kill me, but at the same time, I'm not a toxic person, and I have to keep reminding myself of that, because another symptom of that is that I'm just like, I'm a shit person.
And I think something like with Kate and I in particular, because like I have OCD, I've talked about that on this channel before.
We both get intrusive thoughts.
Yeah, both BPD and OCD have intrusive thoughts, and they are different, but they are similar in the regard that they have intrusive thoughts. I've noticed with Kate and I in particular, we like look for reassurance a lot. Like,
which is why we work together, because it's just like, do you love me? Yes.
Yeah,
do you love me? Yeah.
Like, we both are constantly looking for reassurance. Like, my motives might be slightly different, but they both are, like, intrusive thoughts. So, like, I get it, and I get how, like, shitty it is when people are like, oh, you're being annoying. We wanted to, like, comment on this, like, discourse because, like, we do have genuine concern, and I know I have genuine concern for this situation, because if I'm not Boo Boo the Fool in that video where she talks about having borderline was taken down, that suggests some censoring. And there seems to be a theme with Paul about, like, he's very concerned about the way things look. And I mean, you could see that just by watching, like, Jacklyn Glenn's video. I'll put that in the card above. I recommend you guys, like, watching that. It's definitely evident in Paul's character. And again, we cannot, like, diagnose Paul with narcissistic personality disorder.
But, like, we all know he has it.
I mean...
Listen, regardless of what he has, okay? I like playing psychiatrist as much as the next person. Regardless of whether or not he has narcissistic personality disorder, he is still very problematic.
Yes.
And very abusive. You can tell just by the videos.
As so many Christians wear yoga pants. Oh. Women, you are called to, like, think about your brothers and think about and try to help them to not stumble, to stay pure.
And you can be narcissistic without having the disorder.
He's definitely narcissistic, I will say that.
Because I just have to take it to the Lord and be like, Father, like, I don't agree with this, but this is the way Paul feels, and so help me know how to submit to Paul's leadership.
Like, we can't say, like, oh, he has the personality disorder, but there's definitely some narcissistic behavior that we're observing. I know if Morgan sees this, she might be upset that we're making a video about it.
She's gonna be upset.
But the thing is, we can't be catering to what somebody's toxic views are. You know what I mean?
Right.
We can't be catering to that kind of behavior because that reinforces the behavior. Us being silent about it and not saying anything isn't going to help the situation. We need to just put that out there before we even get into any of this. Like, being silent doesn't do anything. Actually, it doesn't do anything. And we're going to be commenting on Jacklyn Glenn's video and then also Morgan's response to Jacklyn's video.
Oh boy, she responded. Borderlines? We always have a rebuttal. We always have something to say, even if it makes no sense.
And I think that we offer, like, an interesting insight because you have borderline and then I've been an FP. I think that we can offer that insight, like, more so than, like, somebody who maybe hasn't had those experiences. Please be respectful in the comments. The comment section is a great place for you guys to share your mental health journeys if you feel comfortable doing that. We're just being open and honest about ourselves, so we're asking you guys to please be respectful.
Please be nice to me.
We're gonna go into Jacklyn's video. So Morgan was pursuing a music career, and Jacklyn noticed that she was, like, a noticeably different person.
Did you have to do it?
Look familiar?
The Bible makes it very clear homosexuality, LGBTQ+, is a sin.
And that's a huge thing. Before, when she was working on the music career, she was just like, oh, she seemed like a completely different person than she does in her YouTube personality now. She's just like, why are you lying to yourself? Why are you pretending to be somebody you're not?
Why does she put on this act? Why does she put on this ridiculous act? That is not her.
There is an answer. Everybody's personality evolves. The thing about people with borderline is they evolve rapidly and drastically. A tendency that borderlines have, whoever they're around, whoever they want to impress or like whoever they want to be close to, whoever they really enjoy, they kind of pick up what they think that person wants in a person, and they kind of morph their personality to match what they think that this person would want. And it's not even that they're necessarily being untruthful, just that that's what happens. That's what their personality becomes. Then they become that person. That's why she seems so fucking different, is because her personality did a flippy flip and went somewhere else.
It's important, I guess, for Jacklyn to realize, because I don't know if she is familiar with borderline, she needs to be familiar that Morgan is not faking anything.
No, she's not faking it. I used to be a completely different person when I was younger. I know my personality used to appeal to what I thought teenage girls should act like. So it literally just became that.
You were like, I love Abercrombie.
I never once said that. I could send videos of how I used to be.
My favorite store at the mall was Aeropostale. Aeropostale? Aeropostale?
Now I'm a different person.
Basically, why we brought up the whole FP thing and why we're talking about Paul and Morgan and all this stuff is that...
Because Paul is Morgan's FP.
Yeah. So that's what we see within this dynamic, and what's concerning about this FP BPD dynamic,
Extravaganza.
yeah, is that Paul has narcissistic tendencies. There is a, like, toxic archetypal romance between BPD and narcissistic personality disorder.
Narcissists prey off borderlines. You know how I said earlier about how people with borderline tend to put their FP on a pedestal. Obviously, that's something that a narcissist would just love. Like, if they find a borderline, they can worship the ground they walk on. Well, then they're just having the time of their lives.
Both disorders kind of feed each other. This is all in theory, we're not psychologists. We can kind of see that in this relationship. Crash course, Paul is Morgan's FP, and then Morgan has a BPD, and that is confirmed.
It's like, you could just tell, because she's always defending the things that he says and does. You know, he's wrong, but she's still defending him. I don't typically do that anymore. I did when I was younger, but even if, like, my FP's, like, wrong, I'm just gonna be like, hey, listen here, I love you dearly.
But you're wrong.
But you're wrong!
Like, and I think that that's important for, like, any relationship for there to be that.
Well, it's just something that you need to learn how to do.
It is.
Because for a while, I did the same thing. I defended, you know, wrong actions of people in my younger years, you know.
Yeah.
People that I care deeply about. I'd just be like, yeah, they're wrong, but, you know, I'm gonna
like,
say that they're
them.
not. And I'm gonna come up with a reason why they're in the right, even if it makes no sense. I see a lot of myself in her.
Yeah.
Because she's doing the exact same thing I used to do when I was younger. Clearly, he's problematic.
Yeah,
To the rest of us.
Yeah.
And her, more than likely, she could probably see it.
Because she loves them, and the
Because
thing
she
is,
loves
she does genuinely love them, and that's what,
She
like,
does.
people with borderline, like, are very loving people.
We love deeply. The thing about borderlines is that we feel emotions
Yeah.
like you would never believe. Any emotion we feel is at the highest intensity, because we just feel everything really intensely, and that includes love. When we love very intensely and deeply, and it's hard for us to, when you love somebody, it's hard to let go of that. It's hard for, like, average mentally healthy people to let go of somebody that they love. Like, with a borderline, it's like,
A whole other level.
you can't, it takes a lot for us to leave.
And,
Which is
like,
funny, because we can leave something that's completely great.
You just don't know.
We just don't know.
Oh, this girl. I'm sending, like, love and good vibes to her for sure. Or, like Jacklyn, like, did make this really good point, like, right here.
Observe in the next clip how halfway through her spiel, she kind of looks over to Paul for some kind of approval.
This is a loving call to our brothers and sisters, calling them out of what we believe, what the Bible says is sin.
Right, Paul? That's what we believe, Paul. Right? Did I say it good? And she's gonna sit there and she's gonna nod along and she's gonna say that she agrees, but look at her, really look at her, and tell me that she doesn't look sad.
Morgan does look at Paul for approval.
She does.
And that's a big, big thing with borderlines and their FPs.
Yeah, we constantly want reassurance that they love us. We want reassurance that they approve of the things that we're doing and saying. We want to impress them. Like, she's, like, looking at him like, did I do it right?
Like,
it's really sad.
Like, clearly this FP is taking advantage of tendencies that borderlines are going to have regardless. The thing is like, FPs don't have to take advantage of those tendencies.
No.
Borderlines don't really necessarily have a choice that they have those tendencies. They can control them, they can manage them, but they're going to have those tendencies.
Right, there's no way that...
An FP...
I genuinely don't have a say in this.
And the thing is like, FPs have agency over, like, what they're going to do with their borderline loved one. Are they going to help them get help, or are they, like, going to exploit that part of them? Yeah. Which makes me really, really angry as somebody who, you know, I've, like, two of my really, really close loved ones have borderline, and I'm, you know, an FP, and it just really, really makes me angry, because I'm like, you don't do that. You don't take advantage of other people like that. I disagree with Jacklyn that, like, because Jacklyn believes that, like, it's because of religion that Paul is like this. I disagree. I think that Paul just has happened to find, like, a niche, like, culture that, like, enables, I think, this narcissistic behavior. Let's say the religious aspect wasn't there. I think he would still be acting like this, but he would just, like, as I always say, like toxicity is an actor that wears many masks, and sometimes that mask is religion. It could be, you know, being an administrator. It could be being a teacher. It could be being a police officer. It could be literally anything. The mask can be anything, but the actor is the same. I believe that the church definitely has some patriarchal issues. While I fully support healthy masculinity, there are like spaces within the church that can be very, very like toxic and like sexist towards women, and like create spaces for men who have this kind of temperament to thrive, these men that want to feel like that they're more important.
Someone's gonna tell you how to live your life. Is it gonna be yourself, or is it going to be someone higher than you?
I would say that, like, it's not just the religion that creates, like, a bed for narcissism. I would say that also even, like, academic communities can do this, too. Because also, if you pay attention to a lot of, like, academic communities, at some of the atheist community forums that I see, they're very fixated on white academia. It exists in just the human race. I will say that definitely purity culture within the church has become a den for narcissism, and Paul is definitely weaponizing religion for this purpose. This kind of very narrow view of the Bible, and like this very narrow reading of the Bible that's like saying that like all people are sinners, and that, which, yeah, that's true, but it's not true like in the way they're saying it. Paul and Morgan come from like a very like reformed like evangelical background, so like the way they're doing it is kind of like very heretical, but that's a whole other conversation. They're very much like, you are a bad person, and the only way that you are going to be good is if you're constantly apologizing and feeling bad about yourself, because you can't possibly be good unless you do this thing that I tell you to do. This really messes with borderlines, because borderlines in themselves like all the time just feel like that they're not good enough and feel like that they're evil.
We have an unstable self-image. I constantly think I'm evil for no reason.
Just for like existing.
For existing. I just constantly think I'm evil. I have to constantly ask if I'm being a dick, which sometimes I am. But sometimes I ask when I'm being a dick when I'm not, and Cassie's just like,
I'm like, you
fine. Haven't even said anything for like 5 minutes. Or we see ourselves in a different way than other people see us.
This is an instance where we see theology being very exploitative of mental health conditions, and this is just another reason why bad theology is so harmful.
We do like switch our beliefs every now and again, like sometimes I'll think a certain way, and then I'll think another way.
Yeah.
And it really depends on who I'm around. Once again, I have no idea how it works.
It's not about God or having like a relationship with God. It's about making Paul happy. And it's about Paul elevating himself to be this God-like figure in her life.
Literally.
It is like that, like Morgan is preaching to herself. There's some verses made by St. Paul in the Bible where like they talk about submitting to your husband, but they're kind of used really out of context. And that does deserve to be like dove into. I'll put in some video links in the description box below on some like Catholic views on it. And also like he kind of looks like Steve from Blue's Clues.
Do not compare him to the king!
I'm sorry, Kate.
I don't care what shirt he's wearing, Cass.
He wants to, like, have Morgan, like, conform to this, like, ideal where, like, he's the leader, you know? This video comes up, should Christians listen to secular music? And I was like, oh, Lord, this is gonna be a ride.
She's always loved Christian music.
No, I haven't. It's been cheesy and weird and goofy.
We start dating, and I see her, you know, singing this music. I even kind of pushed her and was like, Morgan, you know, what do you think about shifting away from the secular stuff into more Christian music? So I guess some of you guys are probably watching this like, Paul's the bad guy. I prayed about it and I said, Lord, help me to be open to Morgan's heart, because Morgan is an unusual person. I think you guys all get that.
This is like an example of like some like narcissistic behavior from Paul. I've been exposed to narcissistic abuse. I was abused as a kid by a narcissist, and that was something they would do. They would like say it in like a very kind tone, like kind of like that. Like his tone did not change from him being a goofy, like lovable dude, you know. His tone did not change, but he's like, Lord, give me the strength, you know, to be open to Morgan because she's such an unusual girl. Just like, and it gets into your subconscious and it like fucking
that's
like,
what
it like stabs you.
You could see in her face, she's just like,
this hurts.
It's 50-50, honestly, for me.
50-50 for Morgan. I'll work on her.
Like, what are you?
Work on her with what?
What are you, Bob the Builder now? Steve from Blue's Clues?
He's not as cool as Bob the Builder either.
I believe in, like, the sanctity of, like, marriage, and I believe that, like, marriage is between, like, people who are, like, committed and love each other, and I think that, and are, like, healthy for each other, and I think that if those criteria aren't met, it's not a valid marriage. And, I mean, the fact that she ran away from her wedding ceremony.
Vomiting, mind you. Considering what I've seen of the relationship, it seems very, bad. I can't imagine that she actually really wanted to marry this guy. People with borderline have been abused. Physically, mentally, sexually, anyway. They've been abused. And something common is that because they were abused as a kid, they tend to, in their adulthood, get involved in abusive relationships. They get into abusive relationships and even abusive marriages. Like, they will go through with marrying these people when they are not happy, because obviously you can't be happy and abused at the same time. The main symptom of BPD is fear of abandonment. Emotional dysregulation and fear of abandonment are like the two big ones. And then all the other symptoms come from the fact that we got that. Although she's in an abusive relationship, she does not want him to leave her.
I'm not coming from, like, a place of, like, oh, girl, you just leave him, you just, like, you know, get rid of him, like, you're a queen, whatever, which, like, I think she is. Yas, queen, leave him. I'm not coming from that place, because I feel like that's, like, a very, like, superficial
No, we're
place.
genuinely concerned.
Unless he finds it in himself to be self-reflective and say, hey, I need to treat you better, and I need to fix myself for once, then you need to get out. But there has to be some sort of boundary set. It can't always be you, Morgan, rolling over for him. And don't let him utilize scripture to tell you that. Check out Breaking in the Habits videos down below that I'm going to leave there for you. I mean, I know that you might think Catholic's evil, but, like, watch them. I don't even think Paul's a theologian. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's a theologian. There's other ways to look at scripture. There's other ways to interpret things. I don't think that God ever intended for people to be abused. And if God did, then you shouldn't believe in that God. Love and fear can't exist in the same space. St. Paul says that. Just saying, I don't brew the tea, I just spill it. So that was kind of enough for, like, Jacklyn's video. Now we're going to dive into Morgan's response to Jacklyn.
It actually made me believe even more that there's some abuse going on here.
I just want to make sure that I say this all correctly and say what I, Morgan Olligus, wants to say.
I don't want to be one of those people that's just like the body language and the tone of voice, but it is a psychological thing. She doesn't say anything with conviction.
Kate's also an actor, too.
I'm an actor.
I'll say this once, but every single thing she said was very, very, very wrong.
She's just getting really defensive, and that's just something that, like, I mean, that was why I originally, when I was going to make this video, I was kind of irritated, because I was like, again, Morgan and God is Gray have, like, gone at it, and it's been really upsetting to me, because I think that Morgan definitely was in the wrong when it came to that. I feel like that she owes God is Gray an apology for the way she handled that stuff with their DMs and stuff. It's not like I think that Morgan's a bad person or anything, but I do think that, like, accountability is important. I mean, that is something with, like, Morgan and with just a lot of people with BPD is, like, being defensive, especially when it comes to your FP, is very, very common.
It wasn't even like she was giving us context as to what, like, Jacklyn commented on. She wasn't like, oh, like, this thing that Jacklyn said about us, I can explain that. See, blah, blah, blah. Like, she wasn't doing that. She was just like, no, that's not true. At all. She was, like, overly defensive.
Something I am concerned about, and I have to say this because I'm concerned about it. It seems like the only thing that Morgan says with conviction was if she was in a hypothetical abusive situation, Jacklyn making a video about it was putting her in danger.
If you are truly concerned that I am in a dangerous relationship, an abusive relationship, don't you think that making a public video for thousands upon thousands of people to watch would be, like, the most dangerous thing to do to a woman who is in an abusive relationship?
Right, and it's just like, why would you say that? Like, she's, like, saying it in the sense of, like, if, I'm not saying this is a thing, if I was in an abusive relationship, which I'm not, You would put me in danger, which you didn't, because I'm not in an abusive relationship, but you would have put me in danger.
Also, I would say that you guys are, like, masters of, like, trying to get people to read in between the lines.
We tend to really do that. We expect people to be mind readers and be able to pick up on, like, yep.
Most of the time, you can't.
I can, because I think that way, too, and I'm just like, she's doing the thing.
She's doing the thing. And we are making this video because I think that if this is coming from Paul, and I think it is, I mean, judging by, like, the fact that I can't find the mental health video.
Where is
it? That I can't find the mental health video where Morgan's talking about her borderline and how she's not taking medication, which is really bad.
If I see a single comment, or if Paul sees a single comment that is saying get back on meds, it will be deleted, and you might even be blocked from our channel.
That is really bad.
Ultimately, us making a video about what's going on isn't us causing anything except us creating a video.
In Jacklyn's defense, she's not the one causing the abuse, the abuser is.
If people stop making videos or whatever, it's not going to help your situation. I know that it's going to bring up some tension, it's going to bring up feelings, and it's going to, but the thing is, you can't be living in fear all the time. This is a spirituality channel, and I'm also like a mental health advocate. I'm not gonna be coming at you to be like, oh, look at how stupid God is. Like, no, I'm not coming at you like that. Kate's not coming at you like that. We respect where you are with your spiritual journey, but we notice things that need to be addressed. At the very least, if you don't want to leave him, there needs to be some self-improvement on his end, because it seems like there's a lot of talk of you improving, but there's not much talk about him improving. If he really loves you as much as you love him, he's gonna put in the work. And he has to admit that he can be wrong, and that he hasn't treated you the way you should be, even if you have convinced yourself that he's treating you the way he's entitled to treat you. And there's other Christians and other groups of Christians that do not agree with Paul's interpretation of St. Paul's writings. You don't have to throw away your relationship with God in order to be happy. You can have a flourishing relationship with God and leave this, in my opinion, this potentially invalid marriage with your husband. And again, I'm a stranger, I don't know you. But, so take that as you will. I don't know you, and I'm also not a therapist. I just sit here and I'm just like, I think things. It's like,
She does think things.
Despite what some may say about women. Kate and I, we really just wanted to, like, come from a place of love and a place of, like, we get it. We both get it from, like, unique perspectives when it comes to this. Morgan also was saying, like, oh, if you're concerned about me, send me messages, but then, like, later on in the video, she's like, stop sending me messages. It's just like, be quiet about it. And we're not gonna be quiet about it, because that's not going to help anything. So I'm hoping that this video can, like, give you guys some insight into the situation that's unique, and I'm hoping that, like, this also, like, spreads awareness for BPD and those who have it. Unfortunately, there is a lot of stigma around BPD. Again, please, please, please be sensitive in the comments section below.
Because I will be reading them.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Please consider supporting me on my Patreon account. As a small creator, I'm currently not monetized, so any donation would help the platform out immensely. And if you'd like to see more of Kate,
hi,
we have a comedy channel called Jerry Crew Comedy.
It's funny. It has comedy. I'm there. She's there.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of
weird stuff. I'll put that in the description box below. We would appreciate your subscription there. And if you want to help either of the channels, just like, share, and, like, leave your thoughts on the videos, because that helps the platforms out immensely, even if you can't donate. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'm Cassidy. I'm the HippieCatholic.
And I'm her sidekick.
God bless you.